So hii ndio ili happen venye nilianza kuona watu about Kenya inakuja juu ya the war in Iran na all the shortages za oil ambazo tutakuwa tuna experience in the coming few weeks and months.
Must also discourage Kenyans not to engage in any mode of panic buying. It's unnecessary because, as I've said, we have got enough stocks in the country. So in a nutshell, there's no shortage of fuel in the country. Our systems, from importation through storage and pipeline distribution to the retail network, are functioning as required. We note with concern, indeed grave concern, reports of product hoarding and speculative withholding of stocks by some oil marketing companies in anticipation of price movements. This conduct is commercially opportunistic, contrary to the public interest, and is in direct breach of licensing obligations.
Van economics lessons. Anytime supply ya kitu inaenda chini, demand yake obviously itafanya price iende juu. So ukiwa na supply ambayo haimitiwi, obviously price ya hiyo kitu juu demand may remain the same, itaenda way up.
The Strait of Hormuz is just one pathway through which fuel moves. These IOCs are well-established entities, corporate entities, with the capacity to source fuel from anywhere else in the world. On the matter, again, of pricing, let me just read. We shall cross that bridge once we get there. The government of Kenya has got adequate tools at its disposal that it can apply at the opportune moment to deal with the situation.
National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi now says the government is prepared to cushion Kenyans from possible price hikes in petroleum products by deploying the Price Stabilization Fund. Mbadi, who spoke to National Assembly's Finance and National Planning Committee, assured of sufficient product stocks for the short term, saying consequences from the Middle East conflict are already being felt in some of Kenya's leading exports.
A fuel price surge is fast becoming unavoidable. As global oil prices climb amid the evolving conflict in the Middle East, the government now concedes that by mid-April, fuel prices are likely to come under pressure. The government, however, says that about 17 billion shillings currently held in the Stabilization Fund under the Petroleum Development Levy will be deployed to stabilize pump prices and partially shield consumers from sharp increases for the next 3 months. The government is also considering altering the application of VAT on fuel to a fixed amount per unit to keep the prices low.
I may not go into the details of how much we are going to cover with the stabilization fund, because again, it is the responsibility of EPRA to announce the prices.
For now, authorities maintain the supply remains stable. The shilling could also come under pressure as demand for dollars increases to finance more expensive fuel imports, potentially weighing on the country's forex reserves. At the same time, inflation could worsen, driven by higher transport and production costs.
Top energy officials have been arrested after what sources are describing as an unprocedural importation of fuel by the suspects. EPRA Director General Daniel Kipto, Kenya Pipeline Company Managing Director Joe Sang, Petroleum Principal Secretary Mohammed Liban, and Deputy Director Petroleum Joseph Wafula were arrested in an early morning raid at their homes by DCI detectives. As earlier mentioned, millions of shillings in cash was reportedly recovered from the homes of the energy officials.
So hii ni kitu ambayo inafolingi, in my opinion, sisi hatuna the same structures za public-led ama government-led initiatives.
At the Gigiri police station Friday afternoon, detectives picked Daniel Kipto, the Director General EPRA, from the police cells where he had been booked after his arrest on Friday at 2 a.m. The officers drive off to DCI headquarters, where the EPRA boss was to be questioned over importation of fuel into the country and procedurally. As Kipto was on the move, Another team of detectives were at Capitol Hill Police Station to pick Kenya Pipeline Company Managing Director Joe Sang. His destination, DCI headquarters. It was a busy Good Friday for the officers, who also picked Joseph Wafula, a deputy director of petroleum, at Muthaiga Police Station, where he spent the night. The three were all taken to DCI headquarters, where they were joined by their lawyers, with family members forced to wait outside the premises. Earlier on, the Principal Secretary Petroleum, Mohammed Liban, was arrested and questioned at DCI headquarters. Reports indicate he was released on medical grounds, but investigations on him are still ongoing. Sources close to investigations told Citizen TV during the night raids, police recovered over 100 million shillings from the homes of the suspects. Reports indicate the four were arrested in connection with unprocedural importation of fuel after a ship docked in Mombasa last week carrying a consignment of fuel. The four officials are suspected to have diverted the consignment outside the existing government-to-government framework that the Kenya government uses to procure its fuel.
William Ruto came up with something called G2G in matters petroleum. G2G means government to government. But there is nothing like that. It is Kenyan companies buying from the Middle East. Two companies, Gulf Energy, owned by somebody from Meru called Jogu, a proxy of Kasongo, and Starbucks, owned by Chebet, the one who grabbed the hotel for Rafael Tuju, again a proxy of William Ruto, are the ones who have been doing business for petroleum.
The fuel reportedly originated from Gulf oil giant Aramco, which sold the oil to BP. The fuel, which was all the while loaded on the MV Paloma vessel, was destined for Angola, only for the ship to be diverted to Mombasa through a Kenyan oil importer named One Petroleum, who facilitated its landing in Mombasa. Offloading started on March 27th and completed on March 29th. The fuel is said to have been overpriced by at least 4 billion shillings. A second vessel was expected to deliver a similar consignment, with the diversion projected to cost Kenyan taxpayers 8 billion shillings.
So as we are anticipating a crisis because of the challenges in Iran, this PS for petroleum, the CEO EPRA, and the CEO Kenya Pipeline decided, because G2G is a fixed price, and William Ruto wants it that way because he makes a lot of profit. They decided to get cheaper fuel so that they can help cushion the people of Kenya from price hike. And then the people who run the G2G on behalf of William Ruto reported to him that these people have brought competition with you and you are going to lose your profit. That is why they have been arrested. Because they are in competition with William Ruto. So those people are in custody, not that they have committed any crime. They brought cheaper fuel for the country so that Kenyans do not suffer. They are patriots, they are heroes of this country. They are now in custody. The PS has been released because he's having some health challenges, but the rest are in custody. They will be taken to court on trumped up charges.
Landing of the second vessel now seems to have been thwarted. Following the arrests, Kipto, Sang and Wafula were grilled for over 7 hours at DCI headquarters.
The truth of the matter is that they are in competition with William Ruto and they have denied him profit. And what has happened is that William Ruto increased 8% of VAT for petroleum products. Then he added another 7 shillings for fuel levy. He used the fuel levy 7 shillings to borrow from banks 175 billion. This 175 billion is what him and Kindiki have been going around bribing people in Kenya. The only way to stabilize prices is for William Ruto to do away with the 8% VAT and to remove the 7 shillings, which is fuel levy. But he doesn't want, because he wants profit. He wants fuel increase to be up to 40 shillings.
But hii ndio the difference na sisi, especially wale ambao tuko in most African countries. Our governments hazina the same foresight ya kujaribu either adopt these same policies ama kujaribu mitigate some of the harsh realities ambazo would come from such oil
EPRA,
shocks.
CEO and the Kenya Pipeline and the PS for energy, and especially the petroleum part. It has very little to do with the welfare of Kenyans. It has everything to do with watu wadogo wamekula chakula ya mzee. And Kenyans need to know this clearly so that we remove the veil out of whatever it is happening in our fuel sector. And that is why you realize the same company handling G2G, 75% of the fuel that comes into Kenya. It is the same company that is dealing with exploiting our Turkana oil. It is very insensitive that when other countries are dealing on how to alleviate the matter and to deal with the issue of fuel supplies and prices to benefit their citizens, that in Kenya, the leadership is taking this crisis as a way of entrenching their same personal interests in the fuel sector. Unashamedly, they have brought a bill before Parliament now to make the same company benefit by giving them asset status, that their operations will now be at a special economic zone. They will not be going to be paying taxes. And I'm asking the people in government, can't enough be enough, my friends?
Ndiye akaamua kuwashika kwa sababu ni mwizi, anaibiwa na watu yake wafanyikazi. Sasa hii wafanyikazi wanaimbia na unajua mwizi hataki kuibiwa. Mwizi afadhali uibie mtu ya kawaida. Mwizi anasikia uchungu sana ukimuibia. Sasa akasema hiyo watu wakamatwe. Hao kwenda kukamatwa wamesanywa. Sasa CID wameniambia usiku, kwa kila bomo wamepata pesa yote 500 million in cash. Imeenda pale, imewekwa kwa OB, uchunguzi inatakiwa ifanywe ndio hiyo pesa ijulikane walitoa wapi, because that money must be proceeds of corruption. Kasongo kusikia iko 500 million, amesema bana, amewaambia nyinyi mresign. Si ati wa resign kupenda, wamelazimishwa. Wameambiwa ndio hii maneno ikwishe, mresign. Ile 500 million ilikuwa ya exhibit, amesema apelekewe.
Of events has emerged with reports that the 500 million shillings recovered from the homes of the 4 suspects is missing. The money is said to have mysteriously vanished from police custody after the dramatic arrest that saw the 4 hounded out of office over a petrol scandal. This as it emerged that 3 of the suspects linked to the multi-million fuel scandal will spend their 3rd night in police custody after failing to secure release on police bond.
So that is the kind of country we are having. Mpaka president achukua exhibit, anaenda naye. So hii vita ni ya biashara, wanapigana kwa sababu hawa wafanyikazi wamefanya biashara nyume ya mkubwa yao, na yeye amekasirika. Na yeye rais hajali, anasema hii mafuta hata ikipanda anapata faida. So in the next 3-4 weeks mafuta itapanda na zaidi.
Unahitaji more private led initiatives za kuweza kujaribu ku mitigate some of these risks. So hiyo ndio I think challenge, especially for us as a people and as a society. Our governments haziko in the same positions za kujaribu ku apply ama ku absorb some of these policies. It falls, I guess, on us. So moving forward, it's very important to arm na the right information ndio uweze ku make the changes ama kujaribu ku mitigate some of these risks. Asanteni.